Good morning, Hearties. It's your girl Brand here from Mo's and May's Baby. I want to thank you all so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune in to me today. So, for those of you that are new here, welcome. I hope that you like what you see. If you do, please like and subscribe. And I just want to thank everybody for all the love and encouragement that I have been receiving along the way. It truly means a lot to me. And I appreciate each and every one of you so much. So today I'm just going to be making myself a little simple meal with some cabbage, some yellow rice, and some fried chicken. But I like to start today off on a positive note. Believe in yourself and the power within you. You are braver than you know, stronger than you feel, and more capable than you realize. Trust in your journey and your unique purpose. Let your light shine with confidence. Embrace your strengths and face your fears with courage. Remember, you are worthy of all the dreams in your heart. So yes, Hearties, we all have dreams that we have in mind. Like I always dreamed of owning my own home, and I never thought that was a possibility. But here I am. Granted, it's not the Taj Mahal, but it's mine. It's a work in progress, but it's mine. So we have to be happy and grateful what we have. And I think I've been truly blessed in that department. So the last time, just a little recap of last week, I talked about growing up on Conley Camp. And for those of you who missed that video, briefly, Conley Camp was a migrants camp where I was born to my father, Mose, and my mom, Lily Mae, aka May. Hence the name of my channel, Mo's and May's Baby. I am the youngest of 10. And my mother and father migrated from Florida. They met in New York and they decided to stay. And Conley's Camp was a place where we had well water. We actually had the running water in our kitchen, but it didn't get hot. We didn't have heat. We had used kerosene heaters. There was the pots inside the house as the bathroom during the night, and during the day, there we had an outhouse. And so I was brought up in a very humble background. But I don't remember ever having a time where I was hungry and there wasn't food for me to eat. I've never not had a place to stay. I have never ever not felt safe in my entire life. So today I want to continue talking about my childhood of growing up in a migrant family. And I can remember when I was younger, we went to this place called the Marion house. And the Marion house was where we would go to be babysat, and while my parents were working. Usually when you're in a migrant family, both parents would actually, and the older siblings, would go out and work. But so we went to the Marion house. But if you were and this was in the summer months when school was out. No, I think we actually went there in the winter months as well, when you were in the kids' room. And then when you got up to school age, you would go, of course, you would be in school, but on the summer months, they started this program, what they called it, Bible school. And no, we did not learn anything about the Bible whatsoever. I think they called it Bible school because it was actually ran by nuns. And so they were nuns and or people getting into the convent. And they would rent a school for their summer months, and they would pick us up early in the morning because migrant workers were in the fields very early in the morning. And they would pick us up, take the smaller kids to the Marion house, and then they would take the other children to the school, wherever the school they rented for the year. You would have your breakfast, and most of the time breakfast always consisted of oatmeal, and they had butter and sugar and milk and stuff like that, and toast. So pretty much that's what your breakfast consisted of. Sometimes there were other things, but a lot of the times it was oatmeal, probably because oatmeal fed a lot of people with just a small portion. And so we would go there, and you would learn. They would have like different classes, just like you would in high school, go from class to class, except for there was some reading, writing, and arithmetic, but there was also like crafts. There was, you made up songs together. I learned actually how to double Dutch there. There was dancing, moving classes, and I learned how to do boondoggle, we used to call it, and it was just these plastic pieces of like a thread material, and you could do the 2-way, 3-way, 4-way, some people 6, and things like that, just to make like little keychains we would make of it, or little bracelets we would make. And we would take on Fridays, we would always have what was called play day, and what that consisted of was like they would have different kinds of activities, games, obstacle courses with running, badminton, just a whole bunch of different activities that you can do to keep kids occupied, keep us moving. And that's what they did. I actually learned how to fly a kite, because when you won play day, you would get little gifts, rewards, and you get to choose what you wanted. And so the one time I had got a kite, and because I was really, really fast, and I was really, really fast as a child. In fact, I actually ended up running track when I got in high school. And we would, and they would get the kites, and then, like I said, it was like a community. By this time, though, I was probably living, at Carlton Manor, and we learned how to fly kites because of that. We played baseball, kickball. We were out busy, active all the time. So there wasn't a dull moment in my childhood whatsoever. And also, like, sometimes, though, they would take us to the beach, and they'd cook hamburgers or hot dogs for us at the beach. Or sometimes they would take us on field trips. Art Park, Fantasy Island, just a whole lot of museums and things of that nature. But you always had peanut butter and jelly sandwiches when you went out on a field trip, which is fine to me, because I love, to this day, peanut butter and jelly is like one of my favorite sandwiches. I'll take a peanut butter and jelly sandwich over ham and cheese any day. That's just me. I love my peanut butter and jelly. And sometimes they would have it on raisin bread, and I still love raisin bread. I don't eat a lot of bread like that anymore, but every once in a while I'll pick up a loaf of raisin bread, just because it has so many good memories for me. And while we were on that bus, it wasn't like you were just quiet on the bus going to these field trips. We had different little songs that they would sing, like folk songs. And so we get there, seemed like fast, because we were all engaged, and it was a good time. So they did a wonderful job of keeping us interested in the activities and things that was going on. And you met a lot of nice people along the way, because some of the children that we were with were not children that lived with us, so they were getting migrant children. Because I don't know if you're familiar with camp life or whatever, but there's generally a lot of little camps in a lot of different small towns. Excuse me. And so, but they would get us all together, and so therefore you met more people and interacted with more people. And you talking about social skills being built, and maybe that's, it has a lot to do with who I am today. And so a part of, so even like on Saturday mornings when our parents had to work, they would pick us up, winter months included, and we would go to the Marion house, and you would have your oatmeal, your toast, or whatever you would have. And they had all these little different activities to keep you motivated, to keep you engaged. And the Marion house had also a place where you could get used clothing. People would donate clothes and toys and things of that nature too. And my mom and my cousin's mom, Miss Tati, they would always go. My mom didn't drive, so Miss Tati was always doing the driving. And as kids, we would hide in the back seat of the car, and we wouldn't let them know that we were there until we would actually get to the Marion house, And so I think that's how a lot of these programs got started, with these migrant families coming up, and then a lot of them not wanting to leave. I think that's how you got, back in the day it was called Rural Opportunities, and then they changed the name a few years back to Pathstone. I think that's how they got Head Start. And Head Start is a program that kids could go to before they're school aged. And they did that because parents still had to work whether the kids were in school or not. So what were they going to do with the kids? So they came up with a lot of these different programs so that the children wouldn't be left alone. Because I think a lot of times what would happen is the older kids were not allowed to go to school so that they could stay home and help watch the younger kids, thus missing out on their education. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that's why they came up with the Head Start. And even on Sundays, we would go out to this priest named Father Wrigley, and we would have like a little short Bible study with him. And we even had a little song we would sing, because afterwards he would give us juice and cookies, and so we would always sing, "We love Father Wrigley, give us juice and cookies." And it was just, we would, like I said, my life was never boring or dull as a kid. It was a very fulfilling childhood, even though we were considered underprivileged. And I actually ended up working for the daycare, which is no longer the Marion house. It was called Agribusiness Child Development Center. And so I got my CDA in early childhood. And so I had to write a bio about myself. So after I wrote the bio, my mentor read it, and she came down to the room where I was and was just like, "Oh my gosh, Brand, I didn't know that you went to the Marion house." She said, "I actually worked there when I was a teenager." And I'm like, and so we got to talking and stuff. And then I realized she had actually worked with my sister, because one of my older sisters had actually worked at the Marion house as well. And it's just a small world, so you never know, who who you come in contact with sometimes as a kid. And it just came to full circle as to how a migrant child ended up working for the migrant center she went to as a child. Different locations, of course, so I wouldn't have had any idea it was considered the same organization. And after I was to get evaluated to get my CDA, the person that evaluated me was a nun. So I think somehow they played a part, which I'm not sure how they played a part in it, but they are definitely a part of that organization. And they ended up coming up with the thing called Rural Opportunities. Rural Opportunities was designed to help the migrant farmers come out of the field and get better jobs. By the time I actually was in the second grade, though, my father actually was a construction worker. He did construction. And a lot of the other people in that community were no longer doing farm work. We had gotten out of that. Of course, like in the summer months, though, when the kids were out of school, someone would come down with their truck looking for people to, the kids to help pick cucumbers or tomatoes or something like that. And we would all hop in the back of the truck and we would go and work. And that's how we made some money in the summer months. And of course, you're not even 15 years old. You don't even have a working paper, but they're letting you go work out in this field to make a couple dollars. And my one cousin, she was so funny though. She would we'd be like, "Come on, Easter we gotta go. The truck's gonna be here." And she goes, "I'm ironing my pants." "Why do you need to iron your pants to go and work in the field?" But I know her now. She suffers probably from a little bit of OCD because she's still real meticulous. That doesn't mean that she's a bad person and we don't love her, but we just accept her for all of her flaws. So I love you, cuz, if you're watching this. Yes. And so the Rural Opportunities was there in place to help them get a better life. And people, some of the families that were still coming back and forth, it allowed them to buy homes where their wives and children didn't have to still come up to work on the season. Just the men would come, spend a couple months, and then go back home because they had homes and everything now. So it was definitely accomplishing the mission that they set out to do, until it ended up where none of my friends' parents were doing that job. And they ended up, so a lot of times now we find more of the Mexican people that are doing the work that my parents migrated to New York to actually do. My son actually ended up working for Pathstone as well. And man, he was actually running a couple of the offices by the time, he stopped working there with COVID. COVID changed a lot of things. So it just goes to show you how full circle my life has been. The same organization that helped my mother and father have a better life has also helped me to have a better life, because I did early childhood for 7 years before I got into corrections. And I would not change a thing about it. And so my mom was a very, very mild and meek lady, but one time when I was we were going to Bible school, the young lady beat me up for whatever reason. She was a lot older than me. I understand now, maybe when she was a child, she was living in a very, very abusive household. So I'm sure she had a lot of bitterness and rage going on. So she took it out on someone that she was bigger than someone that she could inflict pain on. And unfortunately, that person was me. And my mom was not a violent person or a mean person whatsoever. She was always the peacekeeper. But after that happened, she allowed my sister to go to Bible school, because my sister always had to go to summer school. She was so upset. But my mom sent her to Bible school the next day, and she got on the bus. We picked up the young lady from her house, and when she got on the bus, my sister beat her up. And then the bus driver took her back home, because you couldn't go to Bible school and be fighting. So she took her back home, and she was suspended off the bus for a couple of days, which was fine because she had to go to summer school anyways. And she got off the bus, and then she got on the bus. The summer school bus was right there waiting on her, and she got on the summer school bus, and that was it. So, I guess I had a normal childhood just like everybody else. I just didn't realize that we were considered underprivileged, and it has definitely made me the person that I am today. I think I'm a very hard, strong, independent woman. I learned how to stand on my own 2 feet even after I got divorced, and I was single with 4 children. I ended up still being able to, have some of my dreams come true, like owning a home. And no, it's not the Taj Mahal, but it's mine. It's a work in progress. What do people always say? It's not where you come from, but it's where you're going. And yes, I grew up, on hand-me-down, secondhand clothes, and a lot of stuff from my other sisters as well, because being the youngest, that's what happens. But that's not to say we didn't get new things, because then there was a time where, I didn't have to get hand-me-downs anymore. And my mom still enjoyed going to her garage sales. I remember as a young adult still taking her to garage sales. So I just want to reiterate to anybody who may be listening to this story thinking, oh my gosh, such a sad upbringing, they didn't have indoor plumbing, this, that, and the third. I had a very, very full, productive childhood. We were always outside playing. We were never bored. There was always something to do, or somebody always to play with. And my meager upbringing has helped me stay humble. It has helped me to be the person that I am. I hope that my kids consider me a good mom. I hope my grandkids consider me a good grandmother. And I hope at the end of the day, even though my mom and dad are no longer with us, I hope that they would actually be proud of the woman that I've become and with the things that I've done in my life. So if you have your mom and dad with you now, mine have been gone for years, please let them know how important they are in your life. Nobody's perfect. So no parents are perfect. So no childhood was perfect. I got in trouble so many times. But, me and my siblings got into so many fights. But at the end of the day, we all love each other. And that's what it's all about. Being a family is all about loving each other. So it's going to be some hard times. You're going to get upset, but get over it. Life is too short to hang on to misery. I just thank you all so much for taking the time. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel as I am out here finishing up my dinner for the day. Just trying to live my best life after retirement. And I considered it a blessing to be able to have retired and live my best life. So, hearties. Like I always say, I'm just here to have a good time. So, Never let them steal our joy, and let's just keep living our best life. So come on now and just have some dinner with me, and I will see you all on the next video. Peace, and I pray that you have a blessed week. I love you all, so thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to tune in to me today. I love you all. Have a good week.